Hey, how's it hanging, everyone? MMA Rituals reporting in, and today I'll be hitting you with my picks for UFC 321 Aspinall versus Gane. Now, if you know me or anything about my channel, you know that I do not care for the UFC heavyweight division. I think it's as shallow as a kiddie pool, and even women's bantamweight has more depth of talent than heavyweight does. However, I must say this title fight I am looking forward to, okay? Aspinall is a great champion. I respect Gane as an opponent. I'm looking forward to it. However, we do have to start off here at strawweight. We got Jacqueline Umar versus Masuki Inoue to start this card off. Now, I finished up my tape study. It took about 2 hours. Watched both these girls' careers start to finish. And I must say, I'm picking Inoue by split decision via cage control and a couple more knees to the thigh. Now, let's move on to something good. Azat Maksum versus Mitch Raposo. Both these guys coming off 2 losses. However, Mitch Raposo's 2 losses were dreadful, okay? He did nothing against Sumo Dwerji. He just failed takedowns, got destroyed on the feet. Before that, he had a stink fest with Andre Lima. Nothing really happened in that fight. He just got minorly outpointed again on the feet, failed takedowns. Azat Maksum just fought Tagir Ulanbekov. And that was a competitive fight, okay? The striking was pretty even. Tagir was getting the better of it in more moments than he wasn't. However, Maksum's takedown defense was spectacular, okay? I think he's going to have no trouble stuffing all of Mitch Raposo's takedowns here and finding a ninja choke in the second round. That's what I'm going for. I think beforehand, he could soften him up with body shots, maybe some kicks to the legs and the body as well. He's not going to have any problem on the feet against Mitch Raposo. He does nothing on the feet. Raposo is not dangerous in the slightest. Azat Maksum will do whatever he wants to this guy. Let's move on. We got Hamdi Abdul-Wahab, the hamburger helper himself, versus Chris Barnett. This fight sucks. I don't want to watch it, but I will. Chris Barnett has one chance of winning this fight, and it's by fluke meme knockout. Otherwise, Hamdi is going to push him up against the cage, stall, land little pitter-pat shots to his belly and to his legs, and that's going to be what happens in this fight. Maybe he'll fail a couple takedowns too. Who knows? Let's move on to something good again. We've got Nathaniel Wood versus Jose Delgado, man. This is a great one. I love Jose Delgado. Fast, explosive, dangerous. Fought on Contender Series. Got a beautiful knee knockout there. Then fought Connor Matthews. Destroyed him in a minute. Just beat Haider Emil in 30 seconds, which is a great win. Emil was on a 3-fight win streak of his own. Finishing some good names. Not finishing, but he had a good win at least over William Gomez, and he finished Jung Young Lee, which is good. Those are good quality opponents. Listen, I respect Nathaniel Wood a lot as an opponent. I like him as a fighter. I like going back and watching his fights in Cage Warrior. He had some crazy scraps there. I really like Nathaniel Wood. I just think he's small for this weight class. He's always been small for this weight class. He really should have found a way to stay at bantamweight because he's undersized. And I don't like his durability here. I think Jose Delgado is just going to chin him in a round. And it's tough to say that because, Nathaniel Wood has not been finished at featherweight, but Andre Fili almost put him away. Naimov hurt him badly. Daniel Pineda was even getting to him in moments. The only fight recently where Wood hasn't been hurt was against Charriere, but he did show weakness in his cardio in the 3rd round. He slowed down. Slowed down substantially. I think Delgado's going to put him away here. I love Delgado. This might be a little too biased of a pick. Nathaniel Wood absolutely has avenues to victory. He could shoot a takedown early here, and we find out immediately that Jose Delgado's got nothing off his back, and he has no hope of getting up. So it's a possibility, but I really don't see that as likely at all. So let's move on. Walter Walker versus Louis Sutherland. Again, another heavyweight fight that I just don't care about. Sutherland is a Bellator blob. He doesn't even belong in the UFC. Walter Walker is just going to get another leg lock submission. That's all that's going to happen. So let's move on, okay? I don't want to talk about heavyweights for any longer than I have to. Abdul Karim Al-Sawadi versus Mateus Camilo. So Camilo was the guy who beat that Kyrgyzstani, Tajikistani, Uzbekistani, one of those stands that one dude who went to the UFC 308 press conference and asked Dana White if he could get signed to the UFC. He said he was 9-0. Turned out he was 7-0. Dana White gave him a fight on that Dana White's Looking for a Fight series. If you watch that or if you've heard of that, he fought Mateus Camilo and lost to Camilo. So Camilo got signed instead of him, and now he'll be taking on Abdul Karim Al-Sawadi here. He did actually lose in the UFC first, though. So he got signed. He fought Gabe Green, lost, which is an awful, embarrassing look. I mean, Gabe Green is just barely a fighter. But Abdul Karim Al-Sawadi, he's got promise. You know, he just lost to Loic Rajabov. Not just. I think that was over a year ago at this point. But he was winning the fight. He got knocked out in the third round. It was a brutal knockout. Ref should have stepped in sooner. You know, he got flatlined and then hit way too many times after the bell. But he's good, man. He's really technical. He was cleanly beating Rajabov. He swept George Hardwick on the cards. Unanimous decision on Contender Series. That was a great performance from him. He's a good technical fighter, and I respect his skills. I think he's going to beat Camilo here by decision. Let's move on. Ludovic Klein versus Mateusz Rebecki. I'm picking Rebecki by early knockout. I think Ludovic Klein's overrated. Might not be a popular take. I think that glazing this guy for a masterclass against Thiago Moises is insane. He couldn't finish Moises. Jared Gordon just finished Moises. I mean, come on. Now, Ludovic Klein also has good wins against Ignacio Bahamondes. You know, that was a decision where he won via takedowns. He also beat Roosevelt Roberts by a stinker decision. And a Mason Jones win is aging well for Klein. Absolutely. But that was before Mason Jones hit his real stride. You know, that was before he left the UFC, started crushing some cans back at Cage Warriors, then hopped back after leveling up. I just think Rebecki's at a higher level right now, and he's just going to catch him early. Everybody's saying Klein's more technical. You know, he's going to have the striking advantage here. I just don't see it. Maybe in the third round, but I think early Rebecki's got the power, he's got the speed, he's got the blitz. I don't really like Klein's ability to just stick and move here. That's not really his game. He could shoot for takedowns. I don't see him being successful with them against Rebecki. But yeah, give me Rebecki by early knockout. I'm really excited for this fight. I love this fight. Both of these fighters are intriguing to me. Lightweights got nothing but good scraps. So let's move on. We got Ikram Aliskerov versus Jun Young Park. Yep, middleweight NPC contest. Ikram at least gets finishes. Listen, I like the Iron Turtle. I don't mean to be insulting to him. He's a fun personality, but he's just gonna get knocked out in a round here. It's preordained. I hate to be that guy, but it's a lock. It really is. It's just a lock. Ikram's gonna knock this guy out in a round. Let's move on. Nothing to talk about there. Nasrat Haqparast versus Killen Salkild. So Haqparast coming off 2 robbery wins, which is insane. It's infuriating, man. This guy lost to Jared Gordon. He lost to Esteban Ribovics in his last one. They gave him both of those fights. And the saddest thing is that I'm going to pick him here by decision against Killen Salkild, and I'm going to have to mention that it's probably going to be another robbery. Killen Salkild is a phenomenal fighter. He's young. He's got extraordinary wrestling. Seems like he's got good submission threats. Great striker, fast, long, powerful. I just don't see him finishing Haqparast. Haqparast is too tough. He's not going to get knocked out here. And I absolutely, in no universe, see Salkild getting a decision against Haqparast in Abu Dhabi. It's been made clear Haqparast is getting close decisions. And now he's fighting in Abu Dhabi, and I'm expected to pick against him when he's tough and isn't going to get finished, and this fight is 95% of the time going to decision, it's a factor. I hate that I have to bring it up, but it's a factor, and I'm not going to ignore it. So give me Haqparast by split decision, arguable robbery over Kill and Sal Killed. Let's move on to the main card. The main card's got some stinkers. I'm really not a fan of these heavier weight division fights, light heavyweight, heavyweight, but it is what it is. At least the title fight's good. Let's get these first two over with. Alexander Rakic versus Azamat Murzakanov. I'm going to pick Murzakanov by round 1 knockout. These Muslim guys just perform in Abu Dhabi. It's just true. They do. They show up when they need to here. They know the assignment. They always deliver. Unless it's Ikram in Riyadh on 6 days' notice against Robert Whittaker. They just know how to win in these spots. And I know Alexander Rakic is a popular underdog, but I just don't see it for him. Unless he flukes a head kick, I think Murzakonov's going to chin him. Give me round 1 knockout for Murzakanov. Moving on, Alexander Volkov versus Jailton Almeida. I'm going with another first-round finish, but I'm picking Almeida by sub here. Again, Volkov is a popular underdog. I've seen a lot of my friends picking him, a lot of YouTubers in the MMA sphere here picking him. I just don't trust his jiu-jitsu. Listen, I know Tom Aspinall is a once-in-a-generation fighter. But is it not really concerning that he got taken down and subbed instantly via some arm lock that's never been hit in the UFC before? I don't trust it. I feel like Almeida has a tremendous jiu-jitsu advantage here. An undeniable advantage on the ground. And I think he's going to get a takedown as soon as he can. And Volkov's takedown defense is not trustworthy. So give me Almeida by early sub. Let's move on to a fight that I actually care about. Umar Nurmagomedov versus Mario Bautista. This is a tremendous fight. Umar Nurmagomedov is one of my favorite fighters. I love his striking. I love his kicks. I love his wrestling entries. He's really creative with his scrambles, his reversals. In his last fight against Merab, he showed that off. He showed all different counters to Merab's takedowns. He showed how he can flow with the momentum of takedowns and reverse them, get on top after Merab shoots, sweeps, trips. I love his style. I know that he lost that fight. I didn't see him losing, though. I know it's a despised take. Everybody hates the take. Nobody wants to give Umar credit. But I gotta call it like it is, man. I saw Umar win 3 rounds. The first 3 rounds he won. You cannot give Merab round 3 just because he's showboating a little bit and he got 1 takedown and did nothing with it. Okay, Umar outlanded him. He landed the bigger shots. He got a takedown of his own. He had more control time. He had control at the end of round 3 against the cage. And in a close round like that stuff matters, okay? It doesn't matter that Merab is emoting and he's, smiling at him and waving his hands around and pretending to smack Umar. Umar did everything to win round 3. So he should be the champion right now. He should be defending his belt, but that's not how the cards fall. That's not how the dice were rolled. So Umar's taking on Bautista. Bautista just beat Patchy Mix, schooled him on the feet, exposed him for being the fraud that he is, that Bellator bum. I think Umar's going to get a sub here. Everybody's calling Umar by decision. I've been seeing that a lot. Umar's a rear naked choke expert, man. That is his bread and butter. And when's the last time we saw Bautista against a competent grappler? Was it against Imam Blackshear? And he nearly lost that fight, right? I mean, a lot of people thought he did. I'm going to pick Umar by 3rd round rear naked choke. That's going to be my official call. I think he's going to win on the feet here. It's going to be low output on the feet. Umar's going to be hesitant after his first loss. He's not going to go out just, with this guns blazing, no mercy sort of approach in his striking. He's never like that. He's always tact and poised and patient. I think he's going to even play to those factors more in this fight after his first career loss. And it's going to freak Batista out. I think Umar's speed is going to sort of stifle the Batista blitzes, the entries that he likes to go for with his hooks, with his straights. And Umar is going to time perfect takedowns. He's going to get the back, bleed the clock, looking for chokes. And I think he's going to get one at the end of round 2, I'm going to say. The end of round 2, he's going to submit Mario Batista with a rear naked choke. I like that call. Let's move on to the co-main event. Got Chiwiwis versus Mackenzie Dern. Yeah, I'm gonna pick Chiwiwis by sub. I know that I've just predicted 3 subs in a row on this main card, but it is what it is, man. That's what I gotta do. So, yeah, I just see it happening. I know Dern's got great BJJ, but I think Chiwiwis is better. That's just how it goes. So let's move ahead to the title fight, the main event, the selling point of this card. A really, really important fight for the UFC. Tom Aspinall needs to beat Cyril Gane, and he needs to do it dominantly and in under 3 minutes. If he does not, we're all cooked. Okay, John Jones is getting on Twitter. He's saying that this dude is a joke. What were people ever even saying about him? This guy should have never even been in the same conversation as me. We can't have it, man. We can't let Jones win. He's not allowed to sail off into the sunset after all this shit that he's pulled, man. And thankfully for Aspinall, Gane is an easy matchup for him, I think. He's got really bad takedown defense. He has no power on the feet. His striking is technical, and it's decently quick, but I think Aspinall's stronger. He's faster. He's bigger. He's got way better wrestling, way better jiu-jitsu. And I think the striking will be even. I think, if these guys had the same amount of power and speed, then Cyril Gane has a deeper tool bag. He's got more kicks. He's got a wider variety of strikes that he goes for. But I don't think any of that's going to matter here. This fight is not going to go late. And if it does, it doesn't matter what the result is. Even if Aspinall wins a decision, nobody's talking about him the same way. Nobody's respecting heavyweight the way that it should, What am I saying? Nobody should be respecting heavyweight regardless of anything. It's a terrible division. But what I'm saying is that in order for people to respect heavyweight, Tom needs to keep up this, this aura, the mystique, this just vibe of being this immortal killer that he is, because it's not quite at the Ngannou level, but it's getting there. He's got the shortest average fight time in UFC history. His only loss in the UFC was an injury. One of his other career losses was a DQ. So, this guy is basically undefeated, finishing everybody in a minute, 2 minutes. Volkov was his longest. No, sorry, not his longest win. I mean, Arlovsky made it to a second round at least, but Volkov did well for making it 3 minutes. That says something in and of itself about the level of Aspinall. Now, Cyril Gane literally needs to be perfect to win this fight. He needs to be absolutely perfect. And Aspinall needs to have a perfect performance for this to actually amount to anything and matter in the grand scheme of things. He needs to perform and beat Cyril Gane better and more impressively than Jones did, or equal to. Otherwise, Might as well just scrap the whole heavyweight division. Anyway, guys, thank you for watching. Thank you for making it this far. If you did, I really appreciate it. You know, I had a tough time doing these picks. Any card that's got 3 or more heavyweight fights on it is just, it's going to be a struggle for me. And this one, it had some extra light heavyweight fights. It had some more middleweight fights. It had a couple women's fights. But, you know, there were some lightweight bangers on there to make up for it. Great flyweight fight. I'm looking forward to Delgado, Maxim, Umar. Of course, you know, these are classic MMA Rituals core fighters. So, yeah, I hope all you guys enjoy the card this weekend. If you're new, like, share, you know, subscribe to the channel if you enjoy the content. And thank you.